What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're recapping the New York Giants at the Cleveland Browns. And this was a win that we absolutely needed going into the last 5 games of the season, because the last 5 games of the season are extremely tough. I mean, it's truly a challenge for the Giants because they got to face Pittsburgh. I believe it's in Pittsburgh. I'm not sure. I don't know if these are away or home, away or at home. But we're facing Pittsburgh, the Cowboys, then the Lions, and the Eagles, and the Redskins. So it's going to be a challenge for us moving forward. And today, sure, we scored 27 points, and I know the score kind of says otherwise, but I didn't see anything impressing today. I wasn't impressed at all today. We should have had 28 points had Robbie Gould not missed the PAT. And we started off extremely poor in the first quarter. But I'm not going to have an excuse for it, really. But I'm just going to, I don't know. The Giants, like Eli Manning in the offense, they weren't even trying in the first half. They scored some points to go up 14-3, eventually to 14-6. And then they started to slow down once again. Because I think they were trying to open up their playbook a little bit, trying to go long, test pieces that they really don't use that much. Paul Perkins had a decent amount of carries. He had 9. Roger Lewis was probably the most targeted wide receiver other than Odell Beckham. And then you've got Rashad Jennings. And when Rashad Jennings ran in the first quarter, as soon as he was touched, he kind of just fell down. He didn't look like he was trying to stay, trying that hard. And I think the Giants were just playing half speed, and they knew this game was theirs. They were just trying to open up the playbook, trying to see what they can do in the future. There's no way that in a big game that Eli Manning is going to target Roger Lewis down the field when he's double covered. There's just no way it's happening. I think he was just trying to test the receivers and try to let them make plays against a terrible, terrible Browns team, and that showed today. The Giants were not playing 100%, and they still couldn't put points up on the board. On the other hand, Terrell Pryor absolutely went off on the Giants, just dominated the corners that anybody that was put up against him. Occasionally went up against Trevin Wade, and what happened with Trevin Wade? Of course, Trevin Wade was beat. Janoris Jenkins got beat. And it sucks, but thankfully, he wasn't a big factor in scoring points. They weren't really targeting him in the red zone. When they were in the red zone, they weren't targeting him. So starting off in the first and second quarter, the Giants, I believe their first score was a touchdown to Dwayne Harris, and that was, if that doesn't show the Giants there that they should use Dwayne Harris more instead of Roger Lewis, I don't know what is. I understand Roger Lewis is a pretty good wide receiver, but he's just not one to put your trust in too much. He has 2 touchdowns on the season, but Dwayne Harris last year was a big, key part in our offense last year. You guys see what he did against the Saints last year. You guys saw what he did against the Bills last year. This guy is explosive, especially in the slot, and I would love to see Dwayne Harris in the future games coming up, because we're gonna need all the help we can get at this point, because Victor Cruz is really not doing anything. He gets one big play and he's out for the rest of the game. He did that for about 3 games in a row now, where he caught 1 or 2 passes and he was done. It's not like he went back out on the field. Roger Lewis had more playing time than Victor Cruz, and then when Victor Cruz wants to catch a short pass, he can't do it because he just can't catch it. So then we wound up scoring another touchdown. Odell Beckham right before the second quarter ended, right before halftime. Odell Beckham hit on a slant. Odell Beckham abused Joe Hayden right there. Odell Beckham demolished Joe Hayden. Joe Hayden is really, declining as a cornerback. I don't think anybody's really taking him seriously anymore. He's not one of those elite cornerbacks. A few years ago, he was arguably one of the best corners in the game, but that's just not the case anymore, and nobody respects him Odell Beckham just bullied him down the field, and Odell Beckham could have had at least 40 more yards added to his 96-yard total, but Eli Manning couldn't. They weren't connecting early in the game, but then late in the game they started to connect. So, yeah, a lot of inaccuracies there by Eli to Odell, but still 6 receptions for 96 yards and just the speed factor. I mean, Odell on that slant, Joe Hayden was nowhere to be found after the slant. Odell was gone. So there goes that. And then right before the half ended, of course, the Giants need to give up a field goal, and it's 14-6 by field goal. By half. And then we come back out, and out of nowhere, Sterling Shepard appears. Like I said, Roger Lewis had more playing time than Sterling Shepard. I really didn't see this guy on the field running routes or anything. I really didn't see him in the huddle. But he shows up on a reverse play, gets 22 yards, and it goes for his rushing, not receiving yards. So it really doesn't help him as a player at all, helping his stats at all, because it's rushing. So he had a good reverse there. That was a good play. Like I said, the Giants don't really do this stuff. When do you see the Giants really do reverse plays? We don't do trick plays. Like I said, the Giants are in the 11 personnel 95.5% of their snaps. 95.5% of their snaps. 11 personnel. If you guys don't know what 11 personnel, it's one running back, one tight end, and 3 wide receivers. And that's, because we don't have a fullback, so we can't go, a 22 personnel. I don't know why we don't use 2 tight ends, because I think Will Tye and Jarrell Adams are a good combo. Why don't we use them too much on the same play is beyond me. I think we need to switch it up a little bit, because getting farther down the road, hitting towards playoff time, teams are going to start to figure us out. So we need to find a way to get into other personnel calls, because they're gonna find out. They're gonna figure the Giants out. Somebody is. So, what else? And then Odell had another touchdown catch. That was a great touchdown catch. And then he spun away. He hit the B button as he caught the ball, because somebody looked like he was gonna hit him. But yeah, that was all the scoring plays. And then the Giants really gave up, especially down the middle when it came to the tight end and some big plays by the running backs. And Josh McCown threw all over us. He had over 300 yards. That's not acceptable. I don't care if it was garbage time. That's just not going to look good on our stats sheet. I know stats don't really matter when it comes to this case. We won the game and we blew them out, but I really think we could have put up more points. And it still didn't give me any confidence yet going into these next 5 games. We'll see what happens. I titled this video "The Browns Before the Storm" because, it really is. This is the calm before the storm, the easy game before the storm, because these next 5 games are going to be absolutely killer. So, yeah, moving on, I would like to see Dwayne Harris more. That was a great touchdown catch he had, man. What a grab. He caught it, held onto the ball, looked at the ball completely through the catch, and then came down with it. It was a great play. And Rashad Jennings did a very good job running the ball when he needed to. Early on in the game, he really couldn't run it at all. I could address the offensive line real quick. The offensive line didn't play bad at all. Pass blocking, we only allowed 1 sack, and that was by Christian Kirksey. And then, what else on the offensive line? I don't think we're doing a bad job with Bobby Hart at right tackle and Adam Geddes at left guard. These are 2 almost really bottom of the barrel offensive linemen you could pick up, and we're actually not doing too shabby with them. Our run blocking still needs to get better, but at least we're running the ball at least more consistently. We're hitting more 10-yard runs now. Last year that was unheard of. You would only our farthest run would be like a 9-yard. Seriously, guys, I'm talking last year. We didn't have a run over 15 yards until the middle of the season. It was ridiculous. So the fact that we're running the ball a little bit more consistently now, I'm liking it. Hopefully it gets a lot more better come playoff time. So, and then the D-line. We had to address the D-line. You got to save the best for last. That D-line played absolutely amazing today. 7 total sacks on Josh McCown. He was absolutely abused yesterday. Jonathan Hankins had a great fumble and helped JPP to pick up the fumble. It doesn't go down as a pick six. I thought it did, but his hand wasn't going forward, so it counts as a forced fumble. And JPP also has his own forced fumble, which Kerry Wynn picked up, and he had 3 sacks of his own as well. In my opinion, he's Defensive Player of the Week. I know Khalil Mack did a very good job, and Von Miller did a very good job, but I think JPP deserved it. I mean, he had he had a forced fumble and a forced fumble recovery on a different play. Had a touchdown, 3 sacks, and 7 tackles. So that's pretty good in my opinion. I mean, it could go to Khalil Mack. I think he dominated more, especially against a better team in Carolina. So. And then Olivier Vernon did a very good job against the run. Had 1.5 sacks of his own. And then I believe Jonathan Hankins had a half sack. And yeah, the D line just did an amazing job especially we shut down the run. Only 58 yards from the Cleveland Browns running backs. So we did a great job against the run. Eli Manning really didn't spread the ball out like he usually does. In other games, I mean, besides Odell Beckham, there was not a receiver that had more than 2 catches, so that's pretty ridiculous. But, I mean, Eli only threw for 197 yards, so it's not like he could, I mean, almost half of his yards came from Odell, so, I mean, it was a one-sided game. The Giants were a little bit one-dimensional, but hopefully they pick it up against the Steelers. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.